Okay.
Nope.
Hey, everybody. Andy Harwood and Cheryllyne Vaz from the Vaz+Harwood team here. We're going live at you on Facebook. We have Eric Pirius from Bell Bank Mortgage. Hi, Eric. And
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
we're going live here with a weekly market update. It's something I'm trying to get in the habit of doing more and more to help keep our customers and people in our world informed about what's going on in real estate and mortgage. We got a lot of news stories going on these days. The Federal Reserve, as you have probably heard on every news source imaginable, has made another increase. And I think one thing that people don't understand is that all of these increases don't necessarily directly affect mortgage rates. They do affect them, but it's not like they're not. The Fed is not sitting there increasing mortgage rates. They're increasing or they're changing the rate at which central banks exchange money. Eric can probably clarify more, but so I just wanted to give everyone kind of a real life boots on the ground perspective this week. What does that interest rate increase mean? And what does it mean for you? What does it mean for me if I'm thinking about buying a house or selling a house? And so Eric, what does that mean in your industry right now?
So yesterday, the Fed raised rates, right? 3/4 of a point. We all heard it. And maybe you were, thinking, oh my God, what does that mean to me? Or, are rates going to go up? Actually, rates got a little bit better yesterday.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the Fed funds rate does not directly influence mortgage rates, and in some cases it indicates that the Fed is trying to get a handle on the economy, which gives investors confidence. However, it does not help the stock market usually, and so institutional investors will go for the safety of bonds and mortgage-backed securities. Right. That's what directly influences rates. Okay, so that's what happened this time around. It was already baked into the market. What is directly affected, and you'll probably see this, but car notes. Credit cards, your credit card rate will go up 3/4 of a point, overnight. Or if you have an equity line of credit, that will go up. So it's barely indirectly, actually. I mean, it is not directly related. So in the media,
Eric,
that you get sucked in and go down a rabbit hole and get worried about what's happening. But as we've talked about, letting the market try to manipulate your life to fit what you think the market's doing or gonna do. I don't recommend that. I've always found that people have been the happiest when they let their life drive their decision making and let guys like us and gals figure out the rest.
Yeah, I was gonna say the smartest guys in the room, but I don't know. We just sell houses and mortgages. So
yeah, I'll have to get back on that one. I'll have to check.
we got him here somewhere in the back.
My wife just coughed up her coffee and ran the other way. So.
Well, one thing that about all of this interest rate stuff, and of course, interest rates for 30-year mortgages have certainly gone up since a few months or a year ago. No denying whatsoever that affects people's payment. It may have priced some people out of the market or out of what house they want. It changed the equation. But one thing that I always like to put in perspective for people is that who are thinking about buying a house, especially, is you have to live somewhere. And we talk about real estate being an investment, and of course it is a great investment, but the primary objective of buying a house that's going to be your primary residence is not an investment. You're not adding to your investment portfolio in the sense that you're looking clinically at what the mortgage rates are and you're putting this into a spreadsheet, and then that may be part of it, and that may be how some people go at it, but most of the reason people buy houses is because They need somewhere to live. They want their kids in the school district. They want to be able to have a good commute to work, or various lifestyle factors. And so I think we were talking about this just before hopping on here, that if you can elaborate, if you're like letting the mortgage rate go to the top of the heap of importance, that's not why people buy houses that they live in.
Yeah.
Exactly. If there's the smile factor, you wake up, you're going to wake up in the house at the end of the day when it's everything's done. You're laying there, you wake up, and you want to smile when you look around. If you look around and go, oh, geez, we sure could have used another bedroom, but we got a good rate. It's just not going to, right? I mean, it's not, the rate's not going to make you happy. It's not going to. So at the same time, or as well, equally important, if we have this conversation next year, you think, well, let's hold off, see what's going to let the dust settle. We really need that extra space, but boy, I don't know what's happening with rates. A year from now, that price is going to be higher. Builders are pulling back now. So by the time spring comes around, pent up demand, and we're going to have another crazy spring. I'll bet you anything. And there's going to be less inventory because builders are pulling back right now because of this uncertainty. And that's going to keep prices going up. So if we have this conversation this time next year, the difference is going to be rates could be even a little higher, but certainly the price will be higher, and you'll have missed out on that appreciation. The value going up, paying down your mortgage every month, paying some principal versus paying nothing when you rent. And then, of course, depending on your tax bracket, but the mortgage interest is tax deductible. Never mind the happiness quotient, again, of your quality of life. So that's why I say don't try to outsmart the market, or next September rates are going to be this, and that'll be the time to buy. And let your life drive your decision making, and then let us figure out how to make it work for you, like a 7-year ARM, for example, versus a 30-year fixed. The rates are lower, maybe about half a point lower or so. You've got 7 years to refinance. You're going to refinance. If you get a rate right now, we're going to go through that cycle again. There will be probably a recession. They'll need to spur the economy, drop the rates, fire up the housing industry, and then you can refinance. Whether you get a 30-year fixed or a 7-year ARM, you're going to refinance if you're there for long enough. So that's a viable option. We could also buy down the interest rate up front to give you kind of an on-ramp to that payment. So yes, I mean, obviously the payment's important, and maybe the rates, put it out of reach for you. That's a possibility. And, and then, yeah, you wait. But if there's some more flexibility and it's a matter of perception, I say, continue with what your initial inspiration is for wanting to make a change, because otherwise you got a rate driving the bus, and that, it just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, I have a couple more thoughts on that, but I wanted to give Cheryllyne a chance to jump in here too. What do you?
I would talk, except I think I've lost my voice completely.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't think about that when we started.
Plus, I know this is going to sound weird, but I brought my plants in last night, and there are two toads fighting in the background. So I'm going to be mute. Sorry. They're croaking loudly. Sorry.
I got a guy for that.
Yeah.
He's a toad remover.
Well, I just know, Cheryllyne, just real quick, I know that you come at things from a real lifestyle point of view, and you help so many buyers and sellers get their next house or make their next move in life, and it's usually more about much bigger concerns than whether the interest rate is a point or two, right?
So usually when I first meet a buyer at our initial conversation, yes, we have an intake form where the buyer fills out and says, I need 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we can help you find that home. At our initial conversation, I want to know what is their lifestyle? What are they planning on doing with those 4 bedrooms? How many members are there in the house? Do you plan on working from home? Is that what one of the bedrooms is going to be used for? Or do we perhaps need to be thinking of a 5 bedroom? And what sort of a job are you in? Are you in a type of job where you need to have a door that physically separates your family from you? Because some people are in high security jobs where they can't afford to have. No, seriously. We recently had a client who just said that door needs to have a lock on it so that um, so that my privacy. He was in some data. He's in some data security kind of a job. But my point is, I want to know what a buyer's lifestyle is, and whether that budget that they have would fit the house. And I asked them if we had to find the house that fitted your lifestyle, because ultimately that will be your dream, that will and is your dream house. Uh, does the rate really matter?
One of
You
the
may
things I love
and
that.
another thing I also talk about is everyone's like, oh, the rates are going to come down, rates are going to come down. And I asked them, well, then how much do you have in cash? Because if all the buyers are waiting for the rates to come down, there's going to be a massive bidding war as we saw last year and earlier this year. And do you have the cash to match the appraisal difference? Are you comfortable with lifting inspection? Because that scares me when I hear um, clients lifting inspection. I personally believe that everyone should do an inspection,
You
but
mean
again,
waiving chance to do an inspection, which we saw a
we
lot
have
of this spring.
yes, and I personally want clients to do an inspection because it's peace of mind, you know.
One of
But
the
then ultimately,
ironies, one of the
but then,
ironies
ul-
of, go ahead, sorry.
but then ultimately, But does the interest rate really matter in the bigger scheme of things? Because ultimately, right now, you're paying 100% interest rate to your landlord. Does that
Yeah,
really make sense?
it matters, but it isn't necessarily the biggest thing in the equation. Because what I was going to say is one of the ironies of the interest rates going up is that it's actually helped buyers
Mhm,
in a lot of cases. Not everybody, but it's helped a lot of buyers in the sense
mhm.
that we're not seeing these crazy bidding wars anymore, and we're seeing a more balanced market than we've seen in months.
And
Right. That's true.
and above all, clients, buyers, sellers are accepting purchase agreements that have an inspection on them. You can get things negotiated, repaired, done, a whole bunch of other fun stuff. You know.
Yeah,
We're going
yeah,
it's right now it's not exactly a buyer's market, but a buyer can definitely find their dream home, or at the very least, find a house that is satisfactory, if not your dream. Because again, my gosh, anything is better than paying 100% to a landlord. I've heard horror stories. Well, yesterday I had to talk. I spoke to a potentially new client who just said her landlord has raised her rent from
hmm,
1,500 to I think about 3,000,
wow, holy
and he just
moly,
bluntly said, if you can't pay that, I'll give you 1 month's notice and you can leave.
wow,
And knowing fully well that she has no time or anything to take any repercussions, because all that takes time.
yeah,
It's unfortunate, but
but
there are such people out there, such landlords out there who are really treating their tenants badly, and
yeah,
it's very unfortunate.
yeah. Eric, what do you
So
think?
well, it sounds like the takeaway is that, right? We want the safety. Renting is safer, maybe, right? It's scary. Sign a mortgage. You owe hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a big commitment. Strangely, I think renting is riskier, right?
Mm.
Because as you mentioned, the interest rate on rent is 100%. At the end of your lease, what do you get? Nothing. Maybe a pat on the back or a calendar. That's it. Um, when own it, when you own, I went through it before, but there's three main wealth building aspects: the appreciation, the value going up. Every
Absolutely.
month you're paying yourself a certain amount of, $300-400 towards principal.
Yeah.
And then of course the tax write-off. So, and the mortgage payment stays the same. Your property taxes might go up a little over time, but largely it stays the same. Versus rent, which, as you know, goes up every year, especially these days. So strangely, owning is safer than renting, certainly from a financial standpoint, because again, the interest rate on rent, 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And worse than that, the down payment that somebody might be saving and not putting into real estate right now is losing what 8.5% annually, right? Even though they've tamped inflation down, it's still far exceeding what the interest rate of the mortgage is.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the overall message is that, yes, your payment's higher because the rate is higher, period. But if you try to look through your whole life through that prism, you're limiting yourself. Open the perspective to the quality of my life, the wealth building aspects of ownership, the possibility of refinancing, and open that view, and then some of those concerns and fears go away, and you don't feel as compelled to click every headline on CNN.
Yeah. If I took all those headlines to heart right now that I'm seeing, I might make a career change.
Stay home.
But just to wrap this up, I think the big takeaway that I want to put out there is, if you have questions about any of this, talk to us, talk to Eric. You need to talk to a good realtor and a good mortgage professional, and get that relationship going too. We're not really here to sell you anything. Eric's not going to close the door and lock it, and you can't get out without buying a mortgage.
I'm too old for that stuff.
We're here to answer questions and take the fear out of it, and come from education and knowledge, so that you have the power, empowered to make your decisions.
Right, and it's not like we're Cadillac dealers and don't own a Cadillac. Right? I mean, we're speaking from experience. We own our homes. We have investment properties. We've been there and done that for a number of years, and helped others to build real estate portfolios in some cases, and get into your dream home. So we're in it too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I just tell everyone, stop thinking of it as you buying a home. You're accessing your right to home ownership.
That's great.
And only you can access that right. Andrew and I, as realtors, and Eric, as a lender, are just the guides to get you down that path and on that journey, and we would love to help you with that. But ultimately, you're the one who basically has the key to this magical thing known as home ownership. It's your right.
It's the key to wealth building in the American economy, especially for the middle class. Absolute engine of success.
And also, as an immigrant in this country, I feel very strongly about home ownership, just because the United States is now my home. I'm an American citizen, so ergo, why not? It's a place where I want to build my wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. Anything else to add, or shall we sign off? All right. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, I will catch you down the road. Thank you, Eric and Cheryllyne. Again, it's Eric Pirius from Bell Bank, who helps a lot of our customers achieve home ownership and make their dreams come true.
He's also an extreme. He's also an extreme biker. So if you have any questions about bicycles and tires and brakes and biking clothes
or glasses,
or even glasses,
yes.
Eric, do you have time to quickly tell people about your claim to fame in that video game?
Yes, Resident Evil. I was the original Wesker in the Resident Evil video game, which was part of it was a movie. So just Google me and Resident Evil. There's been a revival. I didn't know, but there's a cult fan following, and so anyway, yeah, check it out. It's interesting.
Yeah, totally.
You just might get
Yes.
a Vesco pair of glasses.
Eric, I don't think you're not in the Resident Evil business anymore, though. Except for
No.
the cult. Do you have to go to conventions and things like that?
I do.
Yeah.
I kind of take the William Shatner approach.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you all here?
Right.
Grow up.
All right. Thank you both.
Just kidding. Thank you.
Okay, signing off. Catch you down the
Yep,
road.
bye.
So it's fun.